Welcome to the Sisterhood Circle. Hey. We are the sisters, and this is our circle. We are so glad, and it would not be complete without you. I am Dee Marie.
I'm Kira Cherie.
Dr. Dawn.
Sally.
And Jen. Welcome. Come and sit where the conversation is different.
Right. Well, y'all already know what time it is.
Yes. Sister Chat.
Sister Chat. All right, so Dawn, you brought up something to me about us using the B word.
Oh.
Well, we don't use it.
Well, no.
Absolutely
well,
not.
My observation of the overuse of it, like how people, it's used for everything. And growing up for me, it was derogatory.
Yeah.
Like that was fighting words. Like you ready to go. Okay.
Yeah.
But now it seems like it's almost like a term of endearment. Like girlfriends call each other that. They're okay with guys calling them that.
Yes.
And it's just, I don't understand it. They say it's not that, I've talked to people about it, I've had conversations about it, because even with young people, it's like you all don't recognize what to mean. You're not, it's a female dog. That's not what you are.
Exactly.
So why are you comfortable letting someone call you that?
But I think to me it stems too from, think about the old school hip hop we even started listening to. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
But Queen Latifah, UNITY, she
sure
specifically says in that song, who you calling them?
Yeah.
Because it's seen as disrespectful to us.
Yeah.
And when we were coming up, it was very disrespectful.
it was. But I remember kicking it to some of those songs though.
I mean,
what's that one song?
Yeah, even now, Glorilla got some. Better have my money. Glorilla. I mean, and it's kind of a double standard.
It is.
Because I like music. I was thinking about it today on the way over because I love Glorilla's new album. I'm sorry, I do. I like it. But I love all kinds of music. But I'm like, some of the words I don't necessarily agree with. But I just don't feel like it's an empowering term.
Yeah.
Like you got bad B, boss B, all these things.
Well,
and why?
People get into this idea of, we're going to reclaim this word and we're going to make it mean. And I'm like,
reclaim it.
It means female dog no matter how you look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it. And so you can put a bad in front of it. You can put a boss in front of it. But if I'm a boss, I'm a boss.
Yeah.
I don't need to be called a B.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
That's just how that
And
should
again,
be.
you see it in the workplace. You think she being a B. It's a negative
You're still
connotation.
using
It
it
is.
negatively.
It
It
is.
has a
Exactly.
negative connotation.
It
So how does it go both ways? But I guess it's the same way with the N-word.
I was going to
Yeah,
say,
that's true.
the N-word, you got to throw the N-word in there.
Yeah,
it's
that's
the same
true.
way.
That's
So,
true.
yeah,
And
but
that's
I
definitely
just
not a term of
cringe.
endearment.
It's not a term of
Yeah, I
endearment.
cringe when I hear females talking to each other like that. It's like,
I think I cringe too because it's just, to me, it's just not attractive of a female just be cussing like that.
No.
You know?
It just comes across as crass.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean I'm bougie or stuck up or any of those things. It just comes off as crass, and I feel like we're better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
We're better
agree.
than that.
I agree. I agree.
know your worth.
Yes, know your worth.
Oh
Know
my
your
goodness.
worth.
And add tax.
There you go.
Add Sally shirt.
So that kind of goes into a little bit into our topic today, which is toxic relationships, and then for us to identify those toxic relationships. So, all right. So when we come back, we're going to delve more into the toxic relationship, and we will be right back with more of the Sisterhood Circle.
I am so glad you ladies are here. You each have your own rooms.
Thank you.
Is it okay to call you Mom?
Of course you can.
Well, we are back with the Sisterhood Circle, and we are talking about toxic relationships. And I think the first thing really is, how do we identify that we're in toxic relationships? And it doesn't matter if it's a romantic relationship, if it's family, friends, work, how do we identify that?
I personally think you identify with how you feel when you're in the presence of a person. Because when you're in a presence of a person, it really is an indication of what you're getting from them and probably what you're giving to them. But really being self-aware, like checking how you're feeling. Are you anxious? Are you on edge?
Yes.
Are you excited? Do you have peace when you're around that person? Do you
That's
feel
all
better
good.
when you leave them? Do you feel worse? So I think this self-presence has to be intact before you can really identify, you know what, that's actually toxic. And I know because it's making me feel different. Yeah.
That's
And
good.
and that's really universal. Like you said, it could be familial, it could be friendships, it can be a romantic relationship, and it all fits in your family. Just like you said, how do you feel after you leave their presence? That's really good.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard too when it's family.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's your family.
Yeah.
So to try and break away from a toxic family member, I think it's hard.
That's hard.
You know, because then you'll start getting backlash from other family members. You know, why you're not talking to them, why you're not.
Unless everybody feels the same way.
It's a possibility.
That is true.
You know, but it's still hard because you can be manipulated and exploited and used by a family member, and they know they can come to you all the time because you're family.
Yeah.
You know, and just, but you have to know your worth. And I think in terms of relationships, when we dive into relationships and we have not figured out who we are, then it's hard to know how someone is just completely just usurping you, just taking everything from you because you didn't know who you were to begin with.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I know when I had therapy before, she talked about boundaries. One of my therapists, she was like, you need to set boundaries. She was like, you kind of operate in codependency. And she was like, it's not necessarily a negative thing, but codependency to me was negative. I took it as negative, but I read this book and I was like, it was like stabbing me in the back. I was like, oh my God. So I actually didn't finish the book. I couldn't go any further. But it identifies your role in the toxic relationship because you are actually allowing the behavior.
Enabling.
So enabling.
Yeah.
And are you just as toxic because you're allowing it?
Yeah, I was about to say, what if you're the toxic one?
Yeah. Like
Like
you're
you're
feeding
toxic.
it.
And,
You're
yeah.
feeding it.
Okay. You're feeding the
Feeding the
toxicity.
toxicity,
And that's
or
a-
if you're the toxic person, how do
Yeah.
you know?
And that's really good because early on, this is probably 10 plus years ago, I had a friend and I didn't realize that it was a very toxic relationship. That person just kept dumping and dumping on me. And I'm thinking, I'm being a friend, I'm giving advice, this person needs me, doesn't really have anyone. And it didn't dawn on me until, and I wish I would have known this sooner, how does that make you feel? And I didn't realize till later on that every time I spoke with that person, it was wearing on me. I felt everything that she was feeling, from anxiety, I didn't even know about anxiety then, to just feeling so beat down, and this person's not listening, and all they did was call to dump on me. And it took me years to end that relationship.
And that's good too, Sally. So it wasn't that they were like negative all the time.
Right.
You were just their dumping ground.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
It's like your waste.
Yeah.
Yes. The toxic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And they would
Yeah.
walk away feeling light
Yeah.
because
they've dumped it.
they've
They've
left it all at
gotten
your
it out.
feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, so with that, if you're a friend, how can you take that but not take it on?
I think it's boundaries.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
that's the you have to know and set your boundaries. Like when you see them calling, and you know you're not in a place to receive what, because I got a lot of people like this. Like I can't do it. Not today.
Not today.
Yeah.
Not today.
Yeah.
And so that's a form of setting a boundary to me. But if you're in face to face, it's a little more difficult to do. So and boundaries are hard to set.
Yeah.
You know, I still struggle with it. Like because you don't, again, I think you mentioned this when we were talking upstairs about you don't want to hurt the person's feelings.
Yeah.
You're afraid of, like you said, walking on eggshells. You don't want to, upset anybody. Like, I don't like conflict. So it's like, okay, I'll just take it to avoid the conflict, but that's not healthy for me either.
You do have to start voting for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
I tell my kids that a lot. Like, vote for you, because nobody else is going to vote for you.
I like
You
that
have to
terminology.
vote for yourself. And the moment that you start really saying, but I matter too. And I don't want you to make me feel like this, you know? And the thing about toxic relationships, I think the reason why we stay in them so long is because it's usually with people who are close to us.
Yes.
Right? Like a snake that's over there can't really bite me
Can't
and
bite-
I get poisoned.
Yes.
Right.
But if I'm right here, then it's closer, and I'm probably going to have some sort of toxicity that comes my way because we're in a close relationship. I think that's what makes it harder for us to get out of them. They're usually with people that we are close to.
And we love them.
Yeah.
You know, you do love them. But again, I think, when are we going to, like you said, vote for ourselves or take ourselves? Because at what cost?
Yeah.
I think when you're sick and tired.
And
Like,
you even sometimes when you get sick and tired, you still, you know.
I try not to.
I try not to. But it's like the
hard.
person,
It's hard.
you know,
It's
it's
hard.
like it keeps coming back, and it's like you say, okay, listen, we're not going to do. This is what we're not going to do, and try to stick to that. But it becomes hurtful, and then you sit and you're like, man, why am I dealing with this? You
And
know, you have a
sometimes-
talk with
yeah.
yourself. You know,
And I think sometimes, you know, you even mentioned it earlier, it could be so many number of people. Sometimes it's even your children that you have to set boundaries.
Yeah.
for.
That's good,
You do.
Sally.
And that's really difficult because as a parent, as a mother, you want to be there, you know, 24/7, and whatever reason, sometimes you just have to say, okay, I cannot deal with this right now.
That's
So,
good. That's good.
You
That's
know,
good.
one thing that you said, Dawn, is like, how do you set that boundary sometimes? Or maybe you just said it. How do we set the boundary? I looked at it in a couple of ways when I was in toxic relationships. And the way that I decided to address it was, one, I'm gonna vote for Kira, right? Because I'm the one I'm crying after I hang up the phone with you. I'm stressed out when I get in the car. So I'm going to start putting me first. But then I turned it on them. And I said, I noticed that when we are in conversation, you're angry, you're yelling. So what is it about me that's making you have this behavior
This
towards
reaction.
me?
Wow.
Yes.
Right? So let me just release you from my life. Let me give you your space. Because clearly,
I'm making you feel.
I'm making you feel away. Me being here is upsetting you to the point that you feel like you can take advantage of me and you can manipulate me or you can call me out my name. I don't want you to feel that way.
Right.
So let
like
me
that.
give you your space.
That's
And
good.
then I get to have my
Your peace
space.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But
I get
it's
to love you
critical to
from
do that.
love you from a distance. So,
distance.
because sometimes toxic people, they don't realize that they're
That they're
being toxic.
No.
Yes.
They
That's
don't.
a really good
No.
point.
They
So that's
don't.
what I did.
and
I flipped
then
it.
when we do set boundaries, it makes them upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't even tell people I'm setting boundaries, but when you do,
You don't
because
call. You don't do
you'll
this.
back- yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they'll just have to be upset because it's your peace.
Well, the other thing is they're upset either way.
Right.
You might as
You
well
mad
let
when
them
I'm
be
here,
upset
you
and let
mad
me
when
have
I'm
my
not here.
peace.
Right.
You
So
know, but
let me
if
just
you
have
have
my
a
peace.
personality, and I struggle with this sometimes, where you just want to fix it.
Yeah.
I just want it to be okay.
Yeah.
And as much as I love to keep peace, the idea of making peace is a much more forceful term, and I'm always worried I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings, and I never want to do that. But when you're using someone and using them and wringing them out till they're dry, you know, they could care less if they're using your peace, keeping your peace. And so to be able to have that mentality to claim it back is critical. But if you don't feel like you have that strength
Yeah.
to call them out, then that's where your circle comes back into play, right?
Yeah.
That's where you have to be able to have somebody that's willing to say, I know how much you love this person, or I know
That's so good,
y'all been,
Jan.
That's
you know,
very
this, but
good.
girl, you really should have a voice here, or
Yeah.
you should really be able to break away, or
walk
whatever
away,
it is.
yeah.
Because I know what I've noticed too, and this is for me. This is what happens with me. I blow up because I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm taking it, and then you gonna get it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go back to you
get all your toxic stuff and get it back.
You did this.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy either.
Yeah.
You know, you should address it before it gets to that point.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to have hard conversations.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it doesn't mean I love you any less. It does not mean I don't love you. But we got to address this
Yeah.
because it's to help you with other relationships as well as me. I need my peace. I
Yeah.
can't keep putting up with this and feeling this way. When I
Yes.
leave you,
When
I
leave
feel
you, I
depleted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how toxicity and love are so adjacent.
Yeah.
You know, they're right there. And that's what keeps that relationship going because you do love, you do want to make peace with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great conversation, you guys.
Oh my gosh, it's over already?
Fly through.
Yeah, so we're going to come back with Sister Wellness and
Okay.
just talk about how we just need to look at our mental and as well as our physical. So we'll be back. But But we will be right back with more of the Sisterhood Circle right after this break.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
And we are back with more of the Sisterhood Circle, and let's talk about sister wellness.
All right, let's do it.
And actually, Jen, before we went to break, you actually had something like something you want to read.
Well, I had been just looking up a little bit about toxic relationships and studying that, but Dr. John Deloney had this article that he wrote, and he described a toxic relationship as one that has unhealthy dynamics and causes you distress or harm because you're unsupported, manipulated, or disrespected. He goes on to say that we all have certain seasons and moments of selfishness, but that if you find yourself serving someone at the expense of your feelings, your needs, and your joy, then that's toxic. That's not healthy for you. And that's something that you need to break away from.
Wow. That's good.
Which talks about
so
the
good.
wellness,
Yeah.
like how that affects you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And with toxicity, and I know on one of our other episodes, we talked about, when we had our therapist here, we talked about even how, oh my Lord, I just, it's a 50-year-old.
That's your 50-year-old wellness.
Right. But anyway, with the toxicity though, it causes us depression.
Yeah.
And anxiety.
I think it can cause physical
Absolutely.
Yeah.
stress too
Yeah,
on
it
your body.
does.
You realize, like that anxiety is a part of that.
And
the
I
way
know
you
when I'm
feel.
stressed that
you
I
don't
get
feel
headaches
good.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Migraines.
Well, she talks about that fight or flight feeling. And when you're in something toxic, like you have to have that feeling, like I just want to get out of here.
Yes.
And there's so much pressure.
That's good, because if you're around if you're going to be around someone or they're coming up, like, do you freeze? Do you run? Or do you, fight,
flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
Because you could be putting yourself in defense mode.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you could just be avoiding them altogether.
And that's a protection thing for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
It's like a mental
Yeah.
protection for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
just
You know it's
just wanna make sure
coming,
it's
so
okay.
you kind of try to prepare yourself for what's coming.
What's
What's
coming?
coming.
You're
Yeah.
dealing with that person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I guess freeze could be where you just take it.
Or you shut down.
Yeah.
Or you shut down.
Yeah.
You
That's
Shut
good.
down.
That's
You recluse.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah,
go. Yeah.
you won't talk or nothing. I'm just done.
Yeah.
I'm shutting it off.
Jen, you said something about serving when we're serving at the expense of someone else.
when you're serving someone at the expense of yourself.
Yeah.
And
Man.
and I know
Isn't
I've
that
been
so
guilty
deep?
of that, but it's very deep, because you don't think, okay, I don't have anything left for me.
Yeah.
Right.
You've taken everything.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
where does that leave you?
And there were 3 things that were there.
At the expense of your feelings,
your feelings,
your needs,
and your joy.
That joy part.
and
So
joy.
those are 3 areas that you can really check.
Yes.
Ooh, that's
Do
good.
I have my joy?
What was it?
Are my needs
being
being met? And
How am I feeling?
do
How am I feeling?
am I in check with my
That's
feelings?
good.
Yes.
That's another
good.
way for you to check am I in a toxic relationship?
Yes, that's
Yes.
really good.
Yeah.
That's really
3
good.
easy words, yeah.
Yeah,
3
3
easy
easy words. Feelings,
Joy.
joy,
And
and
needs.
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 And needs.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, this has been such a great episode.
That's a good note to end
That's
on.
a great note to end
Yes.
on. That's a great note to end on.
Yeah.
So you all, thank you for tuning in to the Sisterhood Circle. We will be back with more coming up soon.
Follow us on our social
Follow
media.
us on everything. On everything.
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're out there. Make sure you
Yes,
join
we
us.
are.
All right. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you all later.
See you.
Sister Circle.
Yeah. Girl, go with your best self. Come to the circle where conversations is really hell. Yeah, you don't gotta hide, but you keep it side. Come complete the circle, girl, get rid of your pride. It's a time to be alive, you are not alone. We gon' help you strive, we all in the zone. We got God on our side, come catch a vibe. When you listen to, you already know what's the time. It's time for the Sister Circle.